you very much. We have in our midst this morning, Meister Company. Can you please give us a wave? Yes, and also Millennium Insurance. They partnered us to have what we are seeing today. Meister and Millennium Insurance were able to give us the folders we are seeing in the hands of our journalists this morning. Thank you very much. At this juncture, I'd like to invite the regional commander to give us an opening speech. Shall we round it up for him?
I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of us to this all important program. In fact, the first of its kind. I don't know, perhaps anywhere in Ghana National Fire Service, the Western region, we say we are the pace setters. Maybe nationally we have to take a cue from what we are doing today. And we thoughtfully came to this point where we realized that there's a gap to be filled. In the past, we've had a lot of engagement with our media. Let me say, is it partners or our media men? We've always had engagement with you, but at different levels. Anytime there are incidents and you want to know the cause or whatever, you want to do some reportage, you would always want to contact us. Again, when we are organizing our programs, we invite you to come and cover. So at that level, we've been seeing ourselves or meeting ourselves. But on this occasion, we thought it wise to invite you to a one-day workshop for us to tell you our story, just to fill in the gaps. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, both amongst the general populace and even media people and all people of us, different walks of life, that we realized that we never had a favorable reportage in terms of the work we do, our operational activities and all what have you. So we carefully sat down and decided that we want to have this engagement with you so that at least, if not for anything at all, at least you be our advocates. We wouldn't want to blame you for maybe the kind of reportage we've received and the misconceptions among the general populace. That is why we thought that fine. Why don't we take the step in the first place to organize this workshop for exclusively media houses within this particular region? So after we've told our mandate, you get to know our mandate, the story of fire service when it comes to incidents, the kind of other activities that we undertake that perhaps you don't even know, or the general public doesn't know, members of our media houses don't know. At the end of it all, we believe that we'll achieve the purpose of which we've organized this program. If I might say one thing that has to do with the role of the individual. Oftentimes, what we see is that we are castigated. Fire service is always castigated. We don't receive a good reportage when it comes to major events, not just in this region. I think this region, the friendship between us and media has been very good since I've been here for almost a year and a half now. I think that we haven't received any adverse reportage from the media within this particular region. But elsewhere, or let me say that across the nation, there are notable events or incidents that have occurred and we've never been happy about the way things went. This all tells us that there's something that is missing. There's a missing link somewhere. That we have to take this trouble to invite you. But after we've not told you all that it takes for us to even move from here, on this ground, you have everything in terms of the work we do. We have our control room here. That is where the calls hit first before appliances are dispatched. Operationally, we would want to expose to you also how our men move, how we dispatch them. You can yourself now come to admit that if any member of the public tells you that the fire service, even when you call them, they don't respond. In fact, today we also get to know how when you make calls, the calls are received. Practically, you go to the control room here, we'll take you downstairs. Everything that involves this work, even the very act that establishes Ghana National Fire Service, and our official mandate that is given us, maybe is it by the constitution or whatever, by the laws of this country. So we have a role to play, a very huge one. Even when it comes to road extrication, we have a role to play. That is generally when we talk about road traffic accidents, the role we have. When building collapse, I think that we all learned that about 2, 3 days ago there was a building collapse in is it Medina or Alenta? Yesterday, PRO, National PRO, was engaged by one, is it Metro TV or so, and you have to take them through the challenges that we face and all that equipment that we don't have. Those that we are supposed to have, and our collaborators. We have NADMO and all the others who normally come to our aid anytime we all collaborate to deal with incidents. So that one will also be told. And we also are a regulator when it comes to general safety in this country. Without fire service issuing a permit for any construction, particularly public places of assembly and all that, our hotels, our hospitals, our schools, and what have you. I mean, most of the factories that we find around. Without fire service granting the permits for those things to happen, it will never happen. You go to the various assemblies, that is where you understand our role the more. The statutory bodies that we serve on. We have the technical subcommittee that we play a key role without we granting any permit to any developer. That particular development can never see the light of day. The only problem we have in this country is that individuals, like I said, that at the end of the day, we want everybody to understand their own role. Because that is one thing that we are also asked to do, to educate the public and to let the general public also know their role, that is the individual role, when it comes to every safety, whatever that, I mean, involves all of us. But we have our own role too, because it's just like taking your kid to school. When they say that free SHS or whatever, you if you don't take your child to the school, you cannot never enjoy it. You understand? So we also have a role to play to make sure that you safeguard your own premises, whether it's your home, your factory premises, or you have a restaurant that you operate or whatever. You yourself should take certain steps to make sure that the place is given adequate cover. So that by the time we leave here, I think all these things will have been brought to light for all of us. And I believe that if all these things are told you and explained to you, and you take it along with you, the reporter change perhaps will change. So this is going to be a day's learning process. I don't think it's so learning is a process. This shouldn't be an event. Anytime there's anything that you want to consult us to understand, we are always available. We have sessional heads here. We will be ready to answer all the questions that you want to ask us to clarify, so that at the end of the day, we'll all be on the same plane. Without much ado, I think that I would want to stop here or pause here. Some of us will still be around if there's need for us to also come in at any point in time. Even though we have 5 presentations, at the end of the day, when there's need for any of officers here, because I believe that questions will be flying around. So it comes to anybody's domain, then they will be here to respond. I wish all of us a fruitful deliberation and participation in this particular program. We wish that it's not just going to be we just listening. I know how critical the journalists are, or you guys are. So I believe that you are going to try to ask all the questions so that by the time we leave here, nobody will leave here with any doubt about the welfare services. On this note, I want to stop so that the first presentation is given us. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Joe.
This, which is a fuel tanker fire, and almost every form of incident presents us with a unique hazard. And many a times we move without even getting to know too much details of what is at stake. Just like it happened with the Gumko incident. We move, you won't get too much details. And the situation just popped up at your face like that. And, you know, it means that we would have ended up putting up firemen to a great deal of risk, which some we have not anticipated. A situation like this, if we get there in time, one danger at hand is that we are able to prevent this tank rupturing. Is it because when there's so much heat buildup in this, it would cause that tank to rupture. If it is diesel, if it is petrol, if it is gas, you know what follows next. Runoffs can travel every length, and it will bring some other bigger situation on our hands than we could have handled if we had been called in time. Now we know these dangers, and so the fireman ordinarily will never take delight in getting to an incident late, because we know many things that are at stake which we could prevent when we get there early. And it could be something like this, a normal house fire. But how many households will be in this apartment? Yes, it's a workshop, so we'll have to be interactive. And we will interlace it with some practical sessions so that some of the things you can make judgments for yourself. How many households do you think will be here? And how many gas cylinders do you think will be in there? Now, if it gets to a situation like this, the situation has gone quite far. A fireman getting there late is a disadvantage to himself, because then if you are going to have projectiles of gas cylinders, you know, a gas cylinder, the normal one that we use at home, if it will rupture, if it will explode, research says it goes a minimum of 100 meters. And so it is to the advantage of the firefighter to get there in time. Or if you are also well equipped at home and you are able to stem some of these things at the earlier stages, you are able to do what? To prevent a bigger situation happening. It could also be something like this. And I'm sure for those of you who have been around here for a long time, you remember this petrol incident. I am somewhere in the midst of that incident there. And in a situation like this is gas which is bellowing like that. It's like the clouds that have descended. And now, in a situation like this, if you call the police first to get there, the police is even a danger to this situation. Even the president is a danger to this situation. We had to block roads about 100 meters. In fact, per normal operational procedures, you need a minimum safe operating distance of minimum 300 meters. And if the president says he is Mr. President and wants to pass by on that occasion with his vehicle, that one alone is enough to spark anything. If it's a media man, he says, I want to be there to catch a good glimpse and have good reportage. So if that media man wants to break protocols, you are endangering us. If it's a military man, and sometimes you can have the traffic, block long distances that those who may be 150th vehicles behind will not actually see what is ahead that has caused the blockade, and will want to make their way, and anyhow, because of a uniform they are wearing and all that, and want to break all protocols. Such persons can become a danger, because all you need is just a spark from a vehicle or anywhere else, and when this gas picks this thing from that far, it flashes it back to its source, and anything that it meets along its way of flashback, it bends it just like that. Now, these and many others, like the road traffic explications, flood situations that we attend to, is what the regional commander mentioned of, that we have always had to be grappling with every now and then. Now, for us to move out, it all starts from the distress caller. And this one, it's a standard procedure, whether you find yourself in Europe, in Africa, in the Middle East, wherever. The distress caller is key. And the distress callers can come in here by running call. Most of the cases would have to call by phone, which we don't have control over. Okay, we don't have control over. Our control room is set up there, and the phones are there only waiting for such distress calls. Operational men are also on 24-hour call, waiting to be dispatched. In fact, that is the sole work of the operational man. As we are having programs here like this, the operational men may also be part of these lectures and all that. But then, once there is that prompting from control room, and we'll demonstrate it for you to see how the prompting is done, some of you will be the ones to also, raise the alarm, and then let's see how they actually turn out. So it all starts from the district caller giving us just one or two details. I am so and so and so, calling from so and so place. At least it is enough for us to know who the person is and the details of the situation at hand. Many a times we get a call, hello, and personally, I've been getting calls midnight. I am so and so, there's fire in my house, and all that, then the phone goes off. You have only said there is fire, but the information has not been relevant, because then where am I going if I should move? Details of fire, if it is a vehicular fire, it's a fuel tanker. If it is a leakage that you are suspecting around, whatsoever it is, you are smelling some chemicals, you are not sure of, or anything. You see, be specific with the details, and then that helps us to know what operational pre-planning or en route arrangements would be made whilst coming to your aid. One critical thing also is the address. The address. The address, we don't just need Anaje or Kuikuma or Esipon. You are only mentioning the names of communities and all that. And the fire truck cannot come roaming all over around Esipon looking for an incident. At least give us some landmark of close proximity to where the incident is happening. See, this is the expectation that we have of the public or the distress call slip. And this one, the turnout slip, is lying right in front beside the phone, the telephones. And as the call comes, the details, the relevant details, like the address with the landmark, the name of the caller, and then the telephone number is on it. Quickly written. I mean, in a matter of 5-10 seconds, this is done. And this must be handed to the operational man or the in charge of the crew that is being dispatched. Then the fire alarm is triggered. We have a central alarm, and in any standard fire station or every fire station has this central alarm system. Once the call is hitting the control room or the watch room, the alarm is triggered to alert the firemen that we have a call at hand. So wherever they find themselves within the wall, you see that's the reason why you can't have an operational man on duty saying, I am going to court to go and buy food, or I am, they must always be within some close reach. And these are 24-hour dedicated operational men who must find ways to be engaging themselves at the station whenever they are on duty. Either they are having lectures here, or some training or some drill at the station. In fact, I was delighted when I heard from one Twin City reporter that he passes here most often at dawn. And whenever he's passing, he's been seeing our people on the square early morning around 5 a.m., engaging in some drills and all that. And he was very much thrilled by that. And I said, yes, these are our routines. Sometimes, in order, after all those drills and, training sessions and all that, I mean, if the man is tired, he must find a way to relax. That's why crew rooms are also part of the setup of any fire station. And so wherever they find themselves, in fact, some of them we've heard of you say, when we come, we see them play drafts or ludo and all those kind. An operational man on duty should not also sleep. In our diction, we don't have anything like sleeping. It is not part of our diction. Anything you do which you think you are doing to keep yourself awake must be a relaxation time. So if it is a playing, or rather must keep you awake, because we cannot afford to have anybody call and the fire alarm sounded and we say the person is asleep. It is not part of our addiction. In fact, it will interest you to know that our administrative regulations say that sleeping on duty, I don't know how many of you who have it as part of your institutional instructions that sleeping on duty is an offense. In our case, sleeping on duty among the three is an offense. It's an offense. So anything they will have to do to keep themselves alert and awake, they keep doing. And we expect that per standard operational procedures. This is not Ghana National Fire Service. This is worldwide. Worldwide. We expect that in a matter of 1 minute, as the call has come through and the fire alarm is sounded, in a matter of 1 minute, wherever you are, they should have mounted the appliance, and the appliance should have started. In fact, if there will be any mix-up on the grounds that will cause a delay, an additional 60 seconds, that is maybe 1 minute, is allowable. And these ones, a distress caller would have run in, or a running caller will run in, and sometimes, they are panting for breath, and they are unable to say what they want to say and say it well. And we are even saying that if those mishaps will come, an additional 60 seconds, that should not even be a fault of ours. I hope you are getting it. Media men, I hope you are getting it. Yes. So this is the standard timings that we expect. Now, whichever a description you give us of the situation at hand, this is the fire tender that you will have arriving. And I've seen many of you spell it as THUNDR. It is not a weather thundering or thunderstorm. This is a fire tender. That's how we call it. They come in different shapes and form, and you see some like this. Now, this particular one carries about 800 gallons. In liters, it's about 3,600. And this one that I showed you earlier, this is the side of it, comes with 3,000 gallons, or in liters, 13,500. This is the one we have here. When we go down there, we'll let you see many of the appliances that we have. And this one, this area is the crew cabin. That's the crew cabin. Then we have lockers, some on this side, some on the other side. They are equipment lockers. Just to let you know that the truck doesn't just come carrying water. There are loads of equipment in there. I mean, all put together, weighing about 10, 15 tons. And you know, water already carries weight. Water carries weight. And you are having, so if you are having about 1.3 tons in this one, and you are having about 10 tons extra weight of equipment all put together. When we go there, you will see the loads of equipment. And then it also has the foam tank. The foam tank. So this one is typically a dual purpose tender. What it means is that it is a carrier of water and some compartment also for foam. So about 2,000 liters of foam enters this one. And I know many of you, you say, as for fire phones, you know, the band, they say, a ruby womb, that kind of a thing. Yes. So this one is a carrier of foam. And it is not for all types of fires. I mean, if it is those hydrocarbon-based kind of fires, then the foam is needed. We actually will not, I mean, we have, you know, a good balance of whatever it takes or is needed for any incident. You see, in other jurisdictions, you would have maybe a separate foam tender carrying only foam, or a particular tender carrying only hoses, or a tender carrying only ladders. So the ladder company is there, the foam company is there, the RTC. This one has a good mix of almost everything that will give you a good initial response to almost every incident that you call us for. And depending on reinforcement that is needed, then we make further supplies available. Now you see this one, I'm sure you may have seen it at the bay there. This is also a turntable ladder. As the name connotes, it is a ladder. It goes, it takes you to a height, and you heard the news all over some time back. So fire service were able to go about fourth or fifth floor. You know, some of you, if you go just 2 floors self, you'll be having problems. But you know, we are supposed to go. And in fact, the very recent ones that we have, the hydraulic platforms, are supposed to take us beyond even 6th and 7th floors. Those are the risks that we take going at height and all that, even without height allowance. That was just by the way. So yes, and then you have this one. This could be a typical water tender, you know. So if it is just a water tender, then that means that it carries only water. If it is a dual purpose tender, it will carry water and yes. So you see, even this one that we are saying carries water and foam, a dual purpose tender, 13,500 liters. There is no private tanker here which tank has capacity bigger than this. I have not seen it yet, except one water tanker at the port that carries 20 tonner. That's 20,000 liters. There is no other. So even ours that you say on mobile man phones, you must say, or the car we are back 13,500. There is no other private tanker that you can think of within this metropolis or maybe within the region. I think Bank of Ghana also has one, but it may be 1,500, 15,000 or so. it has loads of water. But you see, 13,500, which has come to the scene, or if it is this water tanker, that's about 10,000, okay, that is coming. Now, it is also a good load. It's also a good load, but the technical hydraulics. Do we have any engineer amongst you, journalists? Any engineer? Okay. Okay, so this is hydraulics. And so if you are having maybe a 64 mm, diameter of a hose, and you jet it out, you jet water through, and you are going to get each hose a length of about 75 feet. Okay, look at the length. Now each length is holding at any point in time that you see a man at the branch. Each length of a hose, 75 feet, is holding about 15 buckets of water or gallons. Okay, now if you are jetting it out at about 5 bar, 64 mm, you are expected to exhaust this water in about 7-8 minutes. Okay, 7-8 minutes at a pressure of about 5 bar. 5 bar pressure, there is nobody amongst you here who can hold. No journalist here. It is very, very tough to handle. I've stood at a place where a pressure, we went on a test somewhere, and at 4 bars, the fireman whom we are testing with, the hose was so highly charged and so agitated that we were standing, myself and one other boss of mine, who were standing close by. If he had let go, we would have been dead by now. He held on to it, and the thing lifted him whilst he kept holding on to it and brought him down. And that is what the fireman is trained to do. With all boldness, he must handle the situation and ensure that he doesn't let go. Okay, so this is supposed to be the first part of the interaction. Now, yes. So this is a simple video. I've taken you to the place where, the fireman, this is a lieutenant who has reported for duty. He had a phone call. He is already at work. And a fire call came through. So you hear the alarm, and he must move. The phone call service is no longer relevant. He moves. This is the control center giving the information centrally, and they are sliding down. And between the time the call came till the time they must dress up and get in there, how many seconds are needed? How many seconds? 60 seconds. And they are out. And they are out. Yes, they are out. This is just the part I wanted you to see. That's just the part I want you to see. And like I said, irrespective of where you find yourself, this is the standard operational procedure. There is nothing you saw in there, in that video, which is not here in Ghana or in Africa or in Sekendi Takrade Metro Fire Station. Here, the regional headquarters here. You saw that long track. And that track is called what? The turntable. You saw it. We have it here. You saw the alarm that was raised. We also have it here. You saw, I think it's a storage structure. Some firemen were sliding on a pole. Wherever you are, you must find the shortest route into the car. Please, we have it here. So you see them. We should experiment. Okay, one of you will get into the control room, and then one of you will call, see how they receive you. One of you will position, some of you will also be down there and observe. This is unscripted. This is unscripted. It's not part of the processes, but just for you to have good evidence for yourself. So we'll go down there. And maybe towards the plans. We had that pickup there. That pickup is even now down there behind us here. Okay. From the time the alarm was sounded and till the time they mounted, if I had showed you just this video, you say this one, yeah, they just put it together. So that one was so you calling, you have the contact. Hey, you don't have. You don't believe it. You don't have. Yes. Okay. So please, the contact 050. Just take this one. Okay. You have to take some of them down there. Please. You have a tripod there. You see that tripod? You see a stretcher? There are some other cables. Okay. Okay, then here. Please. So you will find that even extinguishers are there. Extinguishers are in here of various sizes. We would wish that we get to this fire at the time it is at extinguisher stage, so that we don't get to, elevate. Because some of you, you will not have extinguishers even in your car or at home or wherever. And so you see many other equipment. This is a generator that is used for lighting. We go at midnight, at dawn for incidents and all that. We have to find a way of generating our own lighting system. And naturally, we expect that when the incident comes, you get there. Even when there is power, we will have to call for ECG to take out the power supply, because it is also not safe for us, so that we can generate our own lighting system. Please, you can push it in now. When you come in here, so we have these branches. This is a water pump. Now, this one is even in here as a backup, because the main pumps of the truck, what if it fails?
You mentioned this one. What is it?
This is a branch.
What is the branch?
This is what we connect to the hose at the tail end, where the firefighter stands to direct the water stream. Okay?
What some people call the gun.
This is what some people call the gun, because it actually looks like a gun. And so check the weights, and we have different types of it. The weight of the hose itself adds up to this weight, and you must make sure you are able to suppress this one so well, else it will carry you. We may have a demo for you to see. So this is even a water pump. Sometimes you get to the grounds, no water around, maybe an open water source. This is a backup. Or the pump itself will fail you. This should be a backup for you to lift from the car. You see, we have to do everything there is possible to make sure that this one, we hold grip of this incident. If it must get out of our hand naturally, then it means that there is nothing much we can do about it. And so you can come out back here. You see, some controls are here. You have to be able to see the water level and all that. This is actually the main pump of the fire engine itself. It has these outlets where you have to connect the hose, and then whichever length that you need to the fire scene, you connect. And then there is also another locker or chamber. You see more other branches. See one of the branches here. This is also another type of the branch. Bring this one out. Bring this one. This one. Yes. Now you can feel it and see. Yes. Another type of a branch. And yes. Yes. And this one. Please bring it in. Okay. This is actually a ground monitor. There are some fires. In fact, almost all fires, the heat, radiant heat emission is such that a man cannot stand there. You see that kind of a fire that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into. And the Bible tells us that the soldiers that were carrying them, that threw them, they too, they got bent. They got bent. No bone was seen of them. Some fires are such that a man cannot stand and withstand the heat, no matter the PPEs, which we don't even have that much of them. And so you mount this one on the ground, set it up such that you direct the stream to the destination you want, and then you can back off and do other things, perhaps engage in rescue or some other things, or search and rescue. So when we come back again, now there's a life jacket. Life jacket. Now you find that this is also a power unit. These are cones. These are extrication tools. Okay.
The cones football match or
Cones for creating barriers at in roadways. So you create barriers. Now you can even have a feel of this and see. This is a spreader. These are typically for road traffic crashes. For road traffic crashes. This is a cutting tool for the mangled vehicles that you have a person trapped in there. So you have to find every way to cut.
So why is it that when there's an accident, they will call the police?
I think that you would have to now shape the orientation of the Ghanaian citizenry. That, like I gave you the gas leakage situation. If you call police, he goes there with a rifle. He's even a danger to that situation. This is also a ram for opening up, for spreading up. Okay, sometimes, and if I put this one here, this very one, if I put one here and then press it, it can tear open this one, like Samson standing and opening up the posts. Yes, this one's strength, Samson cannot reach this one because this is a power tool. And you see the ropes or the lines that are used. Okay, we even have neck collars and those ones to stabilize the casualty, because you know every firefighter is also a paramedic and must be able to manage casualties as seen before they are handed over to ambulance for onward transportation or for further care. In fact,
whether the person needs CPR or any other.
Yes, you have to perform that. You have to perform that. And so you see, even a life jacket is in here. A life jacket, if it will involve flood rescue or water rescue or whatsoever, you the fireman to at least, and sometimes you need this for the victim to clutch onto or to be able to float for to safe grounds. So you find that we have all these. Now, this is also another track. We call it a service van. Now, let's come here. See, these are maintenance or service vans or recovery vans. And so you see, this is for towing. This is a towing vehicle. Typically, some situations will require that we have to use force to come and tow the thing from the scene. Else it becomes a danger to whatever operation that we are doing. So this is it. This is also a service van. It has compressors and some other equipment for, you know, for reinforcement. That is the turntable ladder which you have always been seeing. This one, I think it's even written on it. It goes to a height of 125 feet. 125 feet. But it's not a small height. So now this one is not a water carrier. It's a turntable ladder. But then it has systems or conduits. You see the nozzle at the end. So it will have to work with a fire tender or a water tanker to pump the water through. And that is what you see most of the times. Yes, to that higher ground. So the mechanism is all there. So these ones don't move alone. So you saw in that video that when that one moved, a tender was following like that. And I want maybe one or two of you who will climb this track, and see if truly there's water inside. Okay, so that those who have the narrative that they come without water, you can shape that narrative well for us. And perhaps
Let me ask, why is it that when they call, they say, oh, we are now pumping water inside before we move? Do you have water always in?
water
Set
is
ready.
always in, unless, of course, it has just come from an incident, which means that it will have to replenish. But even
13,500.
13,000, and even under such circumstance, what it means is that once we know it is refilling, an operational rearrangement is done such that, yes, for another vehicle to move. So in this area, for instance, we have this station, we have a Premodo, and even the port is there and all that. Now, if this one had gone for anything, it is refilling, and there's another incident, you cannot say we are waiting to finish refilling. We'll have to let the next station move.
Where do you do the refilling?
Yes, so you can come down here. Yes, you can ask us, we move on. The refilling, we have our hydrants. Yes.
With your drivers, you have to have some special training or technique before you can be employed.
No, the question is
Okay, so I think for some of these, when we get up there, but the water refilling part. Now you see, this is this is this is our hydrant. The whole metropolis. In fact, I can even say the whole region. This is the most reliable hydrant that you can find. This very one. Now, so anytime it is the most reliable because for a greater part of the year, if no hydrant is flowing around, this one say we have it to flow. Now look at this. We are having a situation right now, a challenge right now with water. You see, this is the total that I've opened. It is not. It is not coming. We have a problem this morning. Since this morning, this is the challenge we are having, and that one, it's a problem from Waterworks, which we are yet to get the details. Now, someone will ask, so if this one is like this, it is not flowing, what is our backup? We are always thinking on our feet. Okay. Okay. So, what is our backup? You see, sometimes when we hear what the people say, they make us feel as if we have never been to school before. You see, they came without water, you know, of all the school that I've gone to, and then I move all these machinery there, empty track, and then I come back. Why should I even be paid? And this is a crisis. This is even a national crisis, as if they know you'll be coming, and the water is not flowing. Now, what are we thinking next? We have an underground reservoir at the wall there. You see a little elevation at the corner there. This is about 40 tons. About 40 tons. That means that this track, it can pick about 4 times from this before it is exhausted. This is a backup. In fact, even in recently, we've pushed and national security and local government is even drilling a borehole. We've dug it there. We are just left with the pump to fix. Every fire station is having one. Now, because it is obvious that the treated one is becoming expensive to get. This is the very one too that we are using for firefighting, the very treated one, which is scarce for you to get at home to drink. Is the very one that is used for firefighting. So, yes, yes, sir, yes, sir.
The last. And then that is the whole.
Building codes, we are also employing them. The criminal code, Act 29. Certainly, there are criminality part of it that will have to use the criminal code in enforcing. Bushfires Act is also one of our legislations that we use. Now, I cannot take you through the whole act, But as journalists, we are looking at some few selected areas which we need to bring to your attention. Now, the section 2, subsection 2 says that the chief fire officer shall assume command of any firefighting institution in the country during a national emergency. So please, if there is any national emergency of any sort, or a disaster, a fire situation, a rescue situation of any sort, the fire department, the chief officer or his representative, that's the regional commander or the district commander or the firefighter who is designated to command the situation at the time, he actually assumes command. So if you get there and you are talking to the NADMU man or you are talking to any other man, then you are making a mistake, because then it is that firefighter who is in charge who would have done the mobilization. So the one that came is coming actually at the behest of the fireman who is a... Now look at the objective of the service. Section 3. The objective of the service, please take a good look at the phraseology. It is to prevent. This is the act, what it is saying. The objective of the service is to prevent and manage. In law, the arrangement of words is even very important. So for those who say that the fire department is only there to fight fires, you should know that we are already making a mistake if that's the impression. Because the mandate is not, in fact, the thing is so unpleasant to us, even we ourselves. The firefighting thing is too unpleasant because it can claim our own lives. But the constant fight we are engaged in is, first of all, to prevent it. And that is how the law has arranged it. And you see how it plays out. Now, the functions. So, the fourth section, the functions of the service. It says that in order to achieve our objectives, we are to first of all organize public fire education programs. And what is the aim for doing that? It is first of all to create and sustain the awareness of the hazards of fire. We must make deliberate attempts as a number one priority to ensure that we are first of all educating the masses. For them to know, first create the awareness. And so if we come to your media house today, you give us a platform today. Don't say that you only give us this platform today, so we have given you enough for the year. No. We have to come again next week. And give us, because once you create the awareness, we must sustain it. The same thing, no, we must drum it and drum it and drum it. In marketing, we say repetition maximizes what? The effect. So, to create and sustain, then we need to heighten the role of the individual. That is what the act is saying. The education we are doing, no, we are letting them know that you too, you have a role to play. What role do you have to play? First of all, give you the right knowledge as far as fire prevention is concerned. 2, letting you know what basic equipment you need either at home or at the workplace to serve as first-hand protection for you yourself. So the detection systems that you need, it's not only the fire officer that needs it. The extinguishers that you need. So that one is your role. Don't say the government will come and buy it for you or provide it for you. It is, we have to heighten you to your role. If we say before you leave home, turn off the switches and all that, the media, add your voice and ensure that they also play their role. In so doing, they're also helping to prevent the fires, and they will give all of us less work to do. Then provide technical advice for building plans. This is the law. The second function. Provide technical advice for building plans in respect of machinery and structural layouts to facilitate escape from fire rescue operations and fire management. Now, providing technical advice for building plans. You know that ultimately it is the district assemblies that issue building permits. Over there, they operate through the committee arrangements. So we have what we call the Special Planning Committee. We have the Technical Sub-Planning Committee. These committees, we also have fire personnel duly represented, making their technical inputs into the layout. In fact, sometimes when the drawings are brought, the fire the man will have to look, no, this building, no, the size of the door is too small. No, this one needs 3 doors, looking at the number of people that must be inside. This one, no, the height, it won't help. This one, detectors must be here and there. Extinguishers must be positioned here and there. Staircase and additional staircases. In fact, this place, no, it will have disabled people. No, let's ensure that there is an avenue for disabled people to be able, because everybody's life is important. It is not only you. If only it's a public building. So these are the avenues that we are using every single day at the assembly level to push for these technical inputs. Inspect and offer technical advice on fire extinguishers is one of our core mandates. So if the extinguisher is in a ship, if it is in a car, if it is at home, if it must be in your office, who must inspect and offer technical advice on it? Who? In fact, he is the only one too with the expertise. The policeman sometimes is there and he says, let me see, and then the fool was me, say, yeah, you are now having an empty container in your car. You know, so I mean, as the year wears on, you will be seeing that we'll be doing some of this. Last year, we were all around checking some of these extinguishers in vehicles and all that. Then, to coordinate and advise on the training of personnel, other institutions have their own firefighting departments, but we must make sure that they conform to what the standards are as per our dictates. And you cannot tell what devastating effect it will have on the patients. Boarding schools with large number of, in fact, now they say school feeding and issue say them also media no. And they say water crisis over there. Now the students are running helter skelter. You see, we have to intervene to restore calm by stepping in. So you see, that is why these water tenders, if we have a number of them, they help in, you know, this mitigating. Recently, when there was also COVID, you saw our trucks moving all over. See, so some of these humanitarian services are key that we can't ignore as part of our national core. Now, looking at all the functions that I've mentioned, how many of them are related to fire fighting and rescue? Yes. Anybody who was following should just give me a guesswork. Yes. The journalists. Yes. How many? I've mentioned about how many? Mr. Omar, you wanted to say something? Yes. Please, you wanted to say something.
As service, like the first presenter said, rescue service. So this is part of the rescue things that we do. Are we getting it? Yes. In my presentation, I will base or I will draw much emphasis on interferences at fire scenes, which the last question was part. As a when we are attending the situation, because of time, I don't want to. Just a teaser. Look at where the man is standing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So, as for this one, I need not to mention the work that we do. So you see the firefighters at the scene and all that. So let's look at him. other speakers will talk about other things to you. But it tells us about a common thing. The first video you saw where the people were being rescued through. And this one too, you saw where the man was standing at first and where he is now. Let me pause and ask a simple question about emergencies. We have a whole number of emergencies that emergency responders have to attend to. So we are referring to this as a serious, unexpected, and dangerous situations or events that requires immediate action. So these are some of the things that we're talking about. So we will have a whole lot of situations or events that will require these immediate actions. All aspects of human life, we can have emergencies. Now COVID came and they said it was what emergency. So we have economic situations like now what is going on in the whole world. We are in economic crisis and it's an emergency situation for some. We're talking about finance. So, they are all situations that pose emergencies for us. Social, the medical situations and all that. But we're talking about Ghana National Fire Service. We are saying that Ghana National Fire Service as an emergency institution, we are mandated to manage, control, and respond to a number of these social events. So when there's financial emergency or medical emergency, that is not our concern. But our much concern is where I'm going to draw emphasis on. So when there's a chemical spillage, these are some of the things that you expect Ghana National Fire Service to come to the rescue of the person. And in these emergencies, mostly it is beyond the capacity of the affected victims or the communities. So we come in to assist you because you have the primary objective or the primary responsibility yours on you, the individual, to protect and prevent those things from happening or to have things in place that will salvage the situation. But when it is beyond your capacity, then we come in to come and assist. Are we getting it? So that is why he was talking about other things that will force you to put in smoke detectors and all those things. So that in case those things fail, then we are coming to assist you. So when we are coming to assist you and you see the people stoning, then we don't know the kind of assistance we're going to offer. Road traffic collision extrications. Accidents do happen. People are trapped. And we have to go in with specialized GS to go and rescue the people from the wreckage. Flood rescue. This one's every day, every year. Just recently, Techiman. It has hit them too. And when we mention Ghana National Fire Service, what comes into the people's mind basically refers to firefighting, for which my earlier presenter has just debunked the idea that it is not only the things that we do. So these are some of the things. We do search and rescue in confined spaces. You hear somebody has fallen into a pit, well, whatever. There's a tank underground in a company, somebody has fell inside. All these things, at times they don't know where the person is. But we have to go in with specialized GS to go and search for where the person is and rescue that person. Are we getting it? So we do it for collapsed buildings. A building is collapsed, like Melcon situations and all those things that has happened. But we do those ones when we suspect life is underground. Then we are trained to go in and effect rescue for those things. A whole lot. Somebody will also be at heights. The person is hanging somewhere, and nobody will have access to take the person, whether alive or dead. We will have to go in and salvage that particular situation. So firefighters are charged to swiftly and tactically salvage these situations or contain and stop further deterioration of the event. So our main task is to go in as quickly as possible So the person who may ask of when the emergency tenders or our trucks are moving, that is another challenge that we face. At times the people don't know and they think there's a traffic control and you are coming, at least the road is paved. So they want to just take lead to be distracting you. But the next time anybody is doing that, remind the person it can be your house that is on fire, that we are going. So by the time you cause that distraction, then you know what is happening. And secondly, Takrade in particular, some of our roads, we find it very difficult when there's time for emergency, especially this particular road that by God's grace, they are opening it. The trucks or the vehicles on the road will try to give you way, but the road is narrow that our truck cannot, even though this one has gone off shoulders of the road, this one has gone, but the road access is still not enough for our trucks to go through. So these are some of the challenges we face when we are attending to emergencies. And at times, the distance too affect us. So when the call comes and they are saying they delay, we did not delay. We did not delay. And we will not unduly delay. But the road network can also affect. So imagine a fire at Benso and the tender is moving from Sekendi or moving from Apremdo to go to Benso to go and fight that fire. And you get to Benso and the people are armed waiting for you because you have delayed. That is the term. Are you getting it? So, do we delay or the distance is what is affecting us? It's a question we will answer for
Sorry
ourselves.
for interrupting you, but this one, what are
Mostly these roads have owners. The contractors don't own the designs. I'm coming. The contractors don't own the designs. So mostly by the time we realize there's this construction going on, it is at the it has taken off. So when you go, they will tell you we are not the owners, because if we temper the design, then it will come with a cost. So go to the owners of this particular project. Typical example, when they were constructing the bypass, you see the Apremdo fire station.
yeah.
You see where it is?
Yeah.
We wanted an island so that,
Dedicated.
yes, dedicated. We wrote letters, they said letters. At the end of the day, they closed it. So some of them, the dedicated roads, maybe Ghana will get there. But they always, the engineers and the government are awarding the contracts. Look at the cost implication when those things are given. Are we getting it? So always we pray that the roads are a bit wide enough so that in case of anything and the vehicles maneuver their ways to the edges, we can also pass through. But look at Kwesimintim Road, Kwesimintim Takrade. The bicycle lane is even bigger than. So when there's an emergency and you are using that particular road, you see the challenges we face. And the sideways are a bit high that small cars cannot even maneuver their ways and go off shoulders. So we are all stuck. That's what mostly.